Yada Kazangama Tuti Agi Dichidibala Chuje Degitinore, Tambas Angela Chuje, the Nipa, Jamjan, Luduchi, Jinbuchi, those Chuje, and some Bartamja in Proje, any Tuta, Lo Guru the Magu was, any Jumula Majamata Lunigi, Pagade, Tutelo Magu, Jumula Jani, any Chip Pagi Taji Chebis Rang, the longer troop, the Tamji Vitonji Lata to Tassito, what they indivala to the Russian Tirin, boosting to the Russian mark, Chadiones.
In the first session, we covered the homage part or obeisance, homage to Buddha Shakyamuni, Maitreya Buddha, Manjushri, Nagarjuna, and Asanga, and also Tsongkhapa and his two disciples. And we also discussed about followers of practitioners or people who had already changed their mind or transformed their mind, and who haven't changed their mind based on the doctrine mentioned about the children and yogis. And today we said we will be starting from the literal meaning or etymology of tenets or dukkha in Tibetan.
Dukkha Chirani Femisiva Kechumbuchadi, Karzana, our Taragi Kebartu, Tutinishi in Gore, any chick ya Dozamai Bangag, Yaman Chigina, Junta de Jangina, Delicam Magi, Tawa, Zakit, Kebartu, Hakoyala, Shidari Kebarchum is naming Bucharis.
And study of tenet is important, especially to understand the gross and subtle concept or philosophy of the Buddhism, and also it will make a great difference. And if you want to study tantric, tantra, if you want to study tantra, this will be of a great significance or importance.
And Demasebe, Jumda Jamaina, Ni Namjo Korang, Pagi, Ripin Dredi, Kuchi Haku de Gala, Namjo Kataris. Also.
And it will also makes a great difference in the level of intelligence, of understanding, of wisdom, of the practitioners or students who study these tenet texts.
Jumda law took some jiggy to take very Tawang maybe Kabaka Maris. Jumda law, any young of the Samatan, Guzende, Agi, Jumda Susu, Wumba Jesadi, Guzin young Tabaji Samadina, and in the morning, share up with the
simply, reading this tenet text is not sufficient. It's not enough. And what we need is able to understand, contemplate, think more deeply, especially off the point where concept or philosophy where one tenet or one school of thought is different from others.
Well, that Tumdin Deshe Gans, Deshe Tisales, Tabagi, Tumdagin Dasheti, Penipe, Deshe Tisana Karsuina, Tuta, Ripa the Lungi Ratu, Thember, Arangin Dobatuvana, Dil Parian Doamena, Hajita, Jesum Batar, Nuli Kanu Latani Tachings. Then Taching, Ruam, Tamchen, Tontini, Rangelon, Sudgen, Dromeben, to touch those. What a dose gene, Lunda, Ribacano Latani. Ah, Chick, Uni, Tenane, so Lung, Lung Latani, Lung the say, Ribari, so the Ribari. Anita, Jose Conjure, Shun the Conjure Tende, any Lung Latani touching your mother. Tong when you're the Jose Conjure. 또 리베 람네 거라 타지 에니 소세 삼로지다네 타지데 디레샤 유전 디도 삼바지 어디가 뭐네 땀제비 로데 땀 드라메 베지 차그와 근다 수이루이나 거라 소소베 디 뭐네 렌도 삼선지 네바니에 지금 거야 어떻게 어떤 도시 인데가라 제자 집하기 세상주나지 다음 집에 던데니 Ripa Yanta Lateni, Rangelo, many Tatachi. The Nene, Jose Conjure the Tongue thing, Tenizing Aina, that Shindu Conjure, Tabuda, any chick, money, that and then the Pagi Lung Sama. What? Jazigatamba, dear Lilayang, any Pagi Chikarswata, the Jun Meva, the Junsena, Jutta Copa Tate maybe, and see. Tonta ni la ina tutuma da do bikere eni junko junyang chi jaja da koba thade mebe si galdu ni ngena digmare wata tende mewa ina koba thate jaja thate te ina chi woji chi chira ma lola duje lola pabe kaza ga da thamben do yare uma thanjuwe kaza chira mawa tab 인제 너희가 인제 가사가 다음에 봤던데 너야래. 자서 체도 자wen 누자 소소인다. 딘디나 양 고바 다대 놓아. 그 체도 자wen 누자들라 제가 마더라 다 맞잖아. 양 파기 고에 로퍼 링겨 말인데 점든데 누질로라 파베즈나 다셈 바래. 다셈 빈도데 카르르 저디가라 풍봉안에 쿠르 앞으로 가사고 이제 왔다땐 도테리. 이냄 제가 많이 나는 미세기 내 마부바 생기지요. 어다 텔라 때문에도.
이제 그냥 레이로. If you have a book, it's on page 150. Cutting to appearances, page 150, and it's the last sentence of the second. Last sentence of the second paragraph. As Dharmamitra's clear words, a commentary on Maitriya's ornaments for clear realization. So this is the text where the author quotes the literal meaning of the tenet, and here it says tenet. Established conclusion signifies one's own established assertion within being demonstrated by reasoning and scripture, because one will not pass beyond this assertion. It is a conclusion. So this is what literally tenet means, or established conclusion. So here, what this refers to is, in order to establish, the existence or whatever phenomena, we usually come to the conclusion through a strong conviction that this is the correct, this is the reality, and how we come to the conclusion is, according to the meaning here, through two means, and one is scripture and one is based on logic. And from these two, the logic, reasoning is more important. So reasoning and through scripture, you came to the conclusion that this is the reality, or this is what I thought, and you generate a strong conviction. And when we talk about this, we look at the three nature of the phenomena out there, and these three nature is more kind of related to how phenomena exist, the mode of existence. The first level of phenomena is what we call manifested phenomena, which we can see through our senses, eye, we can hear, and in order to understand the existence of those phenomena, we don't need to go into reasoning, logic, scripture. We can just say that it is out there, I saw it, I heard it. So that's kind of first level. And the second is what we call slightly hidden. So for the slightly hidden phenomena, so for the slightly hidden phenomena and the first one kind of manifested, these two, in order to establish the existence of these two kind of phenomena, what we use is we use reasoning. There might be some phenomena out there which you won't necessarily perceive from your eye, but inferential reason you can come to the conclusion that these phenomena exist because of that reason. And then third kind of phenomena, which we call extremely hidden phenomena. And in order to understand their existence, their nature of phenomena, reasoning is not enough, and our consciousness, senses are not enough. So for that, we need to rely upon the second method, that's called scripture. What Buddha said, you look into scripture and then say, this is the reality of phenomena, or how things exist, or because it is said in the scripture. So scripture and reasoning are the two kind of method, two means that will help you to come to the conclusion of your assertion, whatever position that you hold. So that's the reason why tenet is also called established conclusion. So when you say this is tenet, you are also saying that this is my decision of understanding of this phenomena, or this reality. And again, Geshe said here, it must rely upon valid logic or reasoning. You might be using a lot of reasoning, but reasoning should be valid. Again, when we look at these two methods, scripture and reasoning, scripture should be also valid. Valid in the sense that scripture shouldn't be, although it is scripture teachings by Buddha, but it shouldn't have a repetitive. Buddha said something somewhere earlier in the section, then he's again sort of saying same thing in the later, basically the same thing. It shouldn't be a repetitive here, kind of in a negative sense. That repetitive is considered as a kind of not valid. It's considered as something negative quality. And then there shouldn't be also in the scripture. It shouldn't be also. There shouldn't be also a contradiction. Buddha said something. In earlier part of the text, but at the later part of the text, he's saying something kind of totally different. The text or scripture shouldn't be, have that kind of, qualification. It shouldn't have any contradiction. But, a contradiction. If they are a different reason, different purpose, you might see, although it might appear like a contradiction, but it is not. One example here would be, Buddha said that, self does exist. Self does exist truly, or there is a true existence of self. Buddha mentioned that. Buddha also said that self does not exist truly, lack of true existence of self. So here, in this, part, you can say that, there is a contradiction, in what Buddha is saying. But what we need to look at the why Buddha is saying this and to whom he is saying. We need to look at the purpose, the his reason. So here Buddha said that self exists truly or independently. He mentioned this to the followers of the lowest school, that is particularist or great exposition school, because this level of the school, in order to kind of fit their mental disposition, Buddha has to say this, based on their mental disposition. And there is actually kind of quotation from the sutra and in the quote in which Buddha says that, 5 aggregates are the career, and 5 aggregates the 5 aggregates are the so this inner self or person is the one that carries the burden, and the 5 aggregates are the burden. So there is this kind of sentence in the sutra which specifically Buddha mentioned to one sub-school of the Great Exposition School, or particular school. And the particular school itself has different sub-schools, and this will come later in the text. So you can see here, in some cases Buddha said, self does exist. In some cases Buddha said self doesn't exist. But this doesn't, it's not equal. It's not tantamount to, to a contradiction. Buddha is not kind of contradictory here. So the more detailed explanation is will come later in the same text.
점된데 순두나 탑해버 바글 버저도 롱어도 차상지 긴거 이디가나 바글 롱어 рем바지 따따지 순거래스.
And this kind of sutra, we call it interpretative sort of sutra. Buddha is saying something, but it doesn't mean literally what it is said. It needs to be interpreted according to the necessity of the context or circumstances. So, actually, this is considered as the one, wisdom or quality of the Buddha, being able to, taught according to the mental disposition of his followers.
좀 전에 많이나 전주 세바때서 탑카고 쉬운도 왔어. 좀 전에 그게 남아지 장주 상마예 공라 장주 세비 구디라 잡어지는 통네. 잡어를 둔데가 나타배 유비 다게 다 마음이되게 다 강하게 잡이째 고디가라. 아니 니마치 윤도 빼 지대당 즉 마음 거래였다서 한 레벨 풍수서 봐 야보이 본 거라. 이니마치 답에 즉 테바텐지 철주마탄지 테바텐 엔두 시디가라 아니 아니다 즉 주로 젠다기 즉 바기 마르쳐야 된다기 이 로번 된다기 아니 전 템비쿠치 장주 세바텔라 잡어텔라 아니 나 마르쳐 불나 템바이 뭐 말이스 마르쳐 불 거라데 유디가라 어다 렘상 main gun masore kon thap theba inja on digre es maso marje punna chanju bagu na marje pul chogre bugi ins ani ta marje kande che kores diga ani pe semje se dur che kores ani semje se ne tha chu di chu na tha chu jin semje le ni mi za che gre ani ngasu mi tong ra che marje jin de ya mi de so re ani khona so ta te 시드가라 파기 마르지 체오르 생긴데도 렌즈 마라지네 이네 카가 내고죠 내내네 담아들라 아니 다 미나네 이네 가서 미베 쳬바 두가 아니베 미리줄라 론쟁이 아니베 잡바 꾸마 잡치보드도 아니 주인이 가서 마치 쳐스 카페 잡아들이 까테나 누가 랑그 소라 오네 강가 지기로 와 지기 연두가라 뭐네 미강가 뺏가 부순 소바 레와코랑 미가 맞아지 레와시지 지는 로요도가 양 손음 제제니 베 철주도 좀 먹어주 따도라 된지 좀 네 장주 세바다 다 그것도 리퍼 땅나 코 칸이지 러거때 상도 고르자 따네 요도가라 랑 소라 찌고 보여자 소라 찌제니 레와 바이네 도스제니 다 거봐도 어떻게 되리 탑게 받아서 되려 해서 정원에 거기도 왔어 로기다래서 알 디네야는 논장 가사 제가 봐선 드시네요
So here, the ability to sort of teach different, teachings to different, followers based on mental disposition. As said before, is considered as the skillful means of Buddha. But it's not only Buddha, bodhisattvas, altruistic mind practitioner, they can also use this kind of same, technique. And for this, when we look into the ancient story, we will see that once there was a king, and a king and his kingdom and his people. So they had a problem with the drought. There was no rain at the time, and most of the his people, being farmer, they suffered a lot without having a rainfall in time. And also at that time there was non-Buddhist sort of practitioners, and they suggested the king, who is bodhisattva, that he should practice animal sacrifice, offering, so that that will help him to people, they will have a rainfall in time. And so at that time, king, being a bodhisattva, he didn't flatly refuse it. He listened to that person, and then he kind of suggests that sort of ask that person kind of a question back, saying that animal as compared to a human, when you offer or sacrifice, they are not more sacred than human. Human are more sacred, more kind of important. So how about offering of human life instead of animal? And then sort of
저렇게 까나네. 안 되고 좀 그랬어.
수카가 되고 좀 그랬어.
저기 마주쳐 버렸는데.
So then and the king kind of announced that now we will pick up some people, human instead of animal, and those human. And king kind of decisively said that we are going to sacrifice 1,000 human, and these human will be those who have created sinful activities like act of stealing, killing, and he announced that publicly that he is going to pick up, those who suggested about sacrificing animal, they didn't have an answer. They just have to listen. And here when the king announced that, what happened was those people who were earlier kind of involving in extreme kind of negative activities, they started to change their behavior. Now they are not doing what they were doing before in order to save themselves, because we all know that how much we care of our own life. So they started doing good and creating positive activities, and in the process what they were doing is creating immense positive activities, positive merit. So because of the collective accumulations of positive merit, there were positive results of having a rainfall at time. And here what king was doing was although he is saying something from announcing kind of something, but he is doing something different. It seems that there's kind of a contradiction what he is doing here, but he is using kind of indirect logic or indirect reasoning in order to bring a benefit to the whatever is needed here for the entire his community. So these kind of stories in the ancient time, if we kind of read and look closely, it has kind of deep meaning behind why in this kind of specific circumstances king decided to do this. So here, Tijun said, kind of the king, is using sort of skillful means. He didn't deny who, people who suggest. At the same time, he didn't did what they want to do, him to do.
In a Gabotigis, me saw Jago Hombata, Tundula Kyobuara, Tundu Kyobiatondale, Missegins, Sunshara. Carson, Tundu Mat Tanga di Maris and Lavina, the rich Pomangoya, Gabu Tinguare. Tapajati saw Jagune, Marji Jagune, Marjine Gazin Batisha. Tundoli Mitsache, the Mitangi in the Sunshatuala, Tundu Tire the castle. That to me understand is the Mimi Rechu long thing, any pay Kuma Chapala so by any way you know, Tembashing into the chickens. You know, Tembashing in Guinea Chasso. Kuma Budua. Sumatam Jilla, Pagi Ingua Tata Mido, Pooh, Jetta, the Womba Jilla, some of the water gate Mudo.
So here, when we look at this kind of story, we need to look at what is the ultimate objective, what is the ultimate, thought of this king and why he is doing this. And when he announced that we are going to sacrifice human instead of people, this would kind of make those who think that animal sacrifice is helpful and kind of sacred and valid, it goes against their wishes, and so it made kind of indirectly sort of whatever they are saying is invalid. It doesn't kind of make sense. But at the same time, King here, when he said that he is going to sacrifice people who are involved in 10 negative activities, who are sort of destroying Buddhist doctrine. So when he said that he kind of indirectly again improving or bringing people from creating negative activities into a positive activities. So here, as I said before, we need to look into not what he is saying at that time, but we need to be looking into kind of long-term why is King saying this and what is his kind of objective.
Other those chini chik kubadi chik tao using wombadela. Chundele womba chik tane womba chik in dos ko muji kumpa other those yungwa. Ta see the king yung selen chago mare. In Semitenji Chago Mare. Ah, Dinding do mending. Jujada, Kinsin Lexo the sharing in the Yorwa, Lexum Majini or the Coba the Jujada Coba Tadeo. Coba Tadeo inside, Nimada Sumla Nagate. What a deuce said, Tindigala, what a deuce sine, Tindigin Galdum Carsa, Jack Dubican, Dangalwikanda, the Zon Dumi the Chita. The Mena. What Mame Susu Hagi Chebachese Jidla, Tindiji Chebachen, de Mena, Hamiko Sadi, Shindu Conjugi, teach on the Sumba the Ichi, thought to Lungs Masere, Tatus Chava. Penna Maranzo Zaya Pales on the Gina, Kanin Rongore, Migi Tungore, eat the Lapa Kigore, Jalapa Regular. Kotong with you charger. Ina Pale Titana Jus Pale anyway Mitabade Pale kitchen and Jean Rogende choose a conjury. Co Vegimitale Mitabatu Paleina. Ta Pale Zangi Enipe Pale de Candis Zevare, Yul Kati Zevare, Keber Kati Zeverson, Pash Konguchi Sabe Pale Shin conjuring Sumri. Zonge, you can't me, Chimachi, you can't mean Kaba Zubere, can't Jorazana, Tanamara Tumara. That's sign Yachiki to each other. What a Tsushin conjurer. The Zutrade Lunsa Matapo. Gigi Lanina, 그 벽에 제주 트라고네 이 위생용도 왔어. 어떻게 소리지?
저는 요즘은 microphone so it's my up
So this kind of text or teaching, as we said before, is interpretative. The literally, the literal translation would be sutra with the thought. And here, what it means is, when Buddha said this, there is another, thought behind what he is saying here. So, which also another way of saying is that it needs interpretation. We need to interpret. We shouldn't be kind of taking the meaning what, literally it is saying here. And again, as I said before, when we look at this Buddha's teaching, it shouldn't be having, negative qualities of repetition. Although, in a Heart Sutra, if you know that, text, you will see, another example would be Sanskrit word is kate kate, which means thus gone and gone. So the gone, although we don't consider that as a repetitive, because although there is a true same word, but each word has a different meaning behind it, so it's not considered as a repetitive. And as also said before, the teachings shouldn't be having any contradiction. And and this is scripture. How can we rely upon scripture? For this one, we can use any phenomena, and then each particular phenomena we can apply all kind of three different levels of levels of understanding the phenomena. For example, is that when we look at the for example, a round piece of bread, if you hold the bread and the bread being round, you can know because you are holding it from your hand, by your hand, so you can understand it directly through your senses, and you can know the taste. You just eat it and you will know the taste, what taste it is. And so these both the taste and the shape or form of the bread is what we consider, as said before, from the three category is manifested, or something that we can understood directly. You don't need to rely upon something else. Now we can go to the second part. Second is slightly hidden. The slightly hidden nature or aspect of this round bread is we know that this round bread is impermanent, and why it is impermanent is because there is momentary changes happening on this very same bread, and that momentary changes or impermanent nature of this phenomena we cannot perceive directly from our eyes. We cannot taste it, but how can we know it? We know through inferential reasoning, because we can we say this is impermanent, therefore it is momentary. So there is momentary changes happening on this bread. Now the third part, so this is the the impermanent quality or impermanent nature of the bread is kind of slightly hidden, and now the third is the extremely hidden. The extremely hidden part is, again, when we look at the same bread, if you ask where is this bread made, and who made it, and when it was made, and what are its causes and factors and conditions. When you ask all these questions, these are all hidden to you. You don't have an answer. You need to go kind of maybe do some more research. And for this, what we say is that this is the knowledge that can be completely understood by only enlightened beings, by Buddhas. And then how can we rely upon Buddhas? Our statement is we look at their scriptures, and so therefore you can see here how we use reasoning two levels of reasoning, and then a third is the scripture, how we rely upon scripture in order to kind of come to the conclusion, or in order to have an established conclusion or tenets. So you can see here within one phenomena you can use all these three levels of understanding.
공기 취지상을 발레디 신고 인들을 공당 다 송어래. 경쟁자한테까지 버지 있진 않아요. 버진 chen 남아요.
발레 가르친 거는
공기 취지상에. 답변은 빼나가서 원만을 민전의 발레지나. 다 미수지서라서는 가서 단단 니는 되게 강가로네. 미정에 미나 하고 말와. 저에게 개발하고 말와. 디 유튜브 많이 봐 가리민 투모 많이 봐. 가바케 루테서 가바케 가바마케 그것도 가바 타마 타마서 하고 말아. 어떻게든지 최지상나 이 신고 인서.
소행의 개발적 규제. 시카래.
유 개발 뭐 종인 되지.
And the third part of the here which is said 4 qualifications or 4 aspects of the bread, and these 4 aspects are what is the cause of this bread, and which is said, for example, just if you buy a bread from Walmart, and what is the cause of this bread, or to kind of make it more clear which what kind of seed is this bread made from. This is the cause, and the second is who made this bread, and then third is what are the different characteristics of this bread, and fourth is what is the nature of this bread. So when we look at these 4, the phenomena having these 4 questions are definitely, or has to be extremely hidden phenomena. So this is mentioned in the Trinken Jamyen Sheba, a great master, in his document of transcendental wisdom.
But indeed, the Galada Savachago. But the Chanchu Sevaki Kingo Mar, Kimbi Shinyachi, Sagging Yachi between Chadia.
So here again, these kind of 4 nature or 4 qualification of 4 aspects of phenomena cannot be completely understood even by bodhisattvas, and this can be understood only by Buddhas or enlightened beings.
군단은 뭐지? 신고 코나 때문에 룸 이어질 수 있는 거야. 그냥 개발 전다도 신고 코나 때문에 룸 매질 수 있는 거야.
And so this is what we call, when we look at the here we are still talking about the the definition of the tenet, and from the tenet the scripture. So demonstrated by scripture. So this is what we how scripture comes into kind of as a means to demonstrate the established assertion. And some scholars, master says that there are scriptures which actually tells that they are scriptures which are completely hidden, like Kundalini Buddha. And then there are some masters who says that there are no text or no teachings which tells that there is scriptures which shows there is no scriptures which shows that they are completely hidden phenomena.
와다 대지리가라 가제다 리바 조지 이니 룽 리베랑게 리바게 딱 많이 없어요. 룽 같은 제 버마도 랑게 리바를 뉴기 룽 같은 제게 말이지.
So here, when we look at here, we can see the 2 aspects. One is reasoning and one is scripture, in order to come to whatever, established conclusion, whatever, conclusion that you want to come. And from these 2, as I said before, the most important is reasoning. First you use the reasoning, and you use reasoning, and if there are cases where your reasoning is not enough, where, your reasoning is not reaching, then you can use you have to rely upon scripture. So if there are some phenomena, things that you need to come to a conclusion through reasoning, then scripture is not necessary. You have already used the reasoning or logic for that assertion.
다 산스크리트나 시디즈는 두발자 랑도 로잉으로 두발 타 엔다 시디가라 탈라자거든 아니 타 시디가라 론도기 타 니다달 달와지 다 하장 매월라 유버타니 저 하장 달기 전에 균이 매겐지도 여러 있을래 로다게 차 대단 잘고 그래 야 라마토 이규전 기전 Yang masih begitu jadi, legunde yang mari, legunde le pagi hajam tamu tu junse ko shin konjul chadiyor, sangi ngaji ko chojul chadiyor. Tisu yang mari selabai na, cetar chadi. Tinggi dan talan, ini be tangi dan talan, nuri le tene rang longor tu aja bubuwa. Tapi kecil betul.
Itu sebab kerja apa nih?
Diri. 좀 더 투데는 이제 자켓 투데는 디도아스 이 손다 CD 두바당 엔타데 탈레샤
So Geshe-la, to quote another from another text, this is a tenet by Chankya, is another great master. In this text, this also explains what does it's defining what is tenet means. And tenet here, it's kind of based on the Sanskrit word, which means siddhant. There is a two words, siddhi and ant. There are two. So siddhi means here establish, and ant here refers to the extreme. So here the way of defining this word according to this master is something which is free from two extreme. So here the two extreme here refers to the extreme of nihilism and extreme of eternalism, and so free from these two extreme, something free from two extreme. For example, cause and effect. We might come to the conclusion that there is no cause and effect because I didn't because I didn't see it, and especially the subtle cause and effect, karma, are by nature they are extremely hidden phenomena. So in order to understand their existence, what you need to do is you need to rely upon scriptures. Presumption meditation. We'll take a break.